Alright, chat, picture this hypothetical. You're a super late game player, you've been doing this for a couple of years, and you're probably capped out on gold. You could be sitting at about 900 million plus, like this, or you could also have a billion sitting in chests in your inventory right now that you can't sell. And what do? Well, you could be upgrading your units if you're a newer player. If you're a later game player, you might be spending it into gear gacha, and then spending that to upgrade your units, which might already be built. So gear gacha is kind of not it, especially if we don't have the rate up, which we all know doesn't exist. So there's that. So what are you going to do when you capped out on gold, but you have all of these extra stam pots that you're ready to burn? This could be a much more valuable alternative. So first of all, this is obviously not your normal farming stage. This is the guild boss screen, and we are going to jump into Hell Belgius. Now what you're going to see here is a very unique human team, for the most part, for once, right? It's a little different than what you normally see. So we're going to go from left to right, talk about who we got going on here. We have Blue Shin. He is going to be boosting humans' attack-related stats for every human ally, and then decreasing enemies' defense-related by 10%. Pretty good stat stick. He's pretty much there for his passive and his buff. Any alternatives? Most notably, the very old green Light of Hope Arthur. Free to play. It was free, I should say, at one point in time. Increases allies' damage dealt by 35% in PvE. Pretty good. And then his relic is going to be applying a minus 20% to defense-related stats. Pretty close to Shin, but Shin's a little more valuable because of the attack-related buff, which will help us crit, because Belgius does have pretty high crit resistance. Now, next up is going to be Donna Liz. Now, specifically, we can use the blue one this time around, who's going to increase your allies' basic stats up to 20%, as long as their crit defense is 100% or higher. Then her relic is very nice. Fat 50% attack increase. That is massive. The first DPS slot is going to be Reinhardt. Now, this slot is very tight if you want to do the fastest clears. So the fastest clears are going to be in 3 cards. And Reinhardt is capable of this because his first card that would come out on auto, obviously, is the right card, and it's a sever single target. And with Belgius having that high crit resistance, you're going to see a triple crit chance increase on a sever card. Now, if you don't have Reinhardt, you can still settle for a 4-card clear, and it'll still be 1 turn. So that means you could probably put people like, not the LRSka, because he has a debuff, that'll mess things up. Probably most noticeably the new Ultimate Escanor and the old Ultimate Escanor. Because most likely with the buffs that you'll be having, their single targets should at least crit one of the attacks. It is kind of sucky because their second card is an AoE, which is not going to benefit from the Roxy passive. But if their single target can crit, you can get that extra attack, extra damage past the boss's damage cap. You'll be able to kill. If you don't have anything else, you could technically, which does work, but I think you need a high constellation. Not that blue Jericho, the SR Jericho. Because her single target, if with all these buffs, will also crit. Her heal is locked because of the boss, and you could 3-turn it. 3-card it, I should say. I don't think Roxy, we need to talk about Roxy. Roxy's the queen of human single target damage. Mael is going to be on Reinhardt. Sariel is going to be on Roxy. The card set's going to be number 40, chilling in the sun, sky, ocean, summer, yada, yada, yada. And for food, we don't need anything. If you want to throw down some gold food, sure. But you're probably doing this because you don't need the gold. In which case, just don't use food. Because why burn food when you don't have to? So, what's going to be going on here is, like I said, a 3-card clear from right to left. We're going to see the Donna Liz buff come out. You're going to see that right across the board. The Blue Shin debuff is going to hit the swords. So, Roxy AoE is going to be able to clear the swords in one go. 617, very nice. Our single target comes down on the Belgius himself. We get a couple crits, so we get that extra splash. Right off the bat, you can see every hit of Reinhardt is going to crit, and then the splash damage from the Roxy passive is going to finish off the boss. Now, because this isn't a general, typical farming stage, it does require some human interaction. Now, unfortunately, you would technically need to make a macro for this to work. So some kind of auto clicker that can click in this general area that will, I guess, skip this intro. Hit the retry button, try again button. It might need to be a little more in depth so that you can refill your stamina pots, but I'm sure somebody out there can figure out how to make a macro and make this, you know, a little more accessible, right? So how does this have more value than farming gold? Well, if you've looked at the drops, you'll notice that you can farm SSR card plates, you could farm Awakening Stones, you can farm anvils, you're still going to get treasure chests, so that's going to be a gold drop, and then you'll also get enhancement stones. So for 3 cards in 1 turn, to be able to have all of those as an available option is pretty good. Now, I've had a couple people try this out, and on average, the runs for about an hour's worth of farming are the following drops. Approximately 2 SSR card plates. Okay, not bad. About 8 Awakening Stones. Now, mind you, the Awakening Stones, I believe, are 5 stars. So that's going to be nice, especially if you still have some additional people you're looking to upgrade. May or may not be better than waiting for Gear Gacha, but like I said, that might never come. The anvils you'll get are about 170, so this turns into a very interesting anvil farming setup. Because now, yes, technically an hourglass would net you a lot more anvils a lot faster, but if you can alleviate an hourglass from anvil farming, throwing all of them into your SA coins are going to be much, much better. On top of that, we got about 59 treasure chests. I believe the chests, I think they're UR. I'm not 100% sure. I have to double check. About 59 of those. And then the enhancement stones came out to about 6k, I think. Something around that. Because those are the most common drops. So if you compare that to, I think, the 5th stage of gold farming, before we just got that 6th stage, I think the drops from that gold farming were about 7.5 million per hour. With the new stage, it's probably closer to like maybe 7.6 or 7.7. I don't think it's quite 8 mil. Now, obviously, this is going to give a little less gold. I think it's probably closer to 7.3 or 7.4. But if you factor in, you know, 2 SSR card plates, 8 Awakening Stones, 170 anvils, and then about 6k enhancement stones, you're looking at a lot of value. The only downside is there is a trade-off for that additional value, and you're looking at 5 more stamina than the 6th gold farming stage, right? So I would recommend doing this on half stam, because obviously Guild Boss is very expensive on Hell. It's 70 stamina run, so we're looking at 35 stamina on Mondays and Tuesdays every other week. What is it? Usually in the off weeks, I guess, so today and tomorrow. Obviously, Stage 5 of Gold is 24 stamina, and then Stage 6 of Gold is 30 stamina. So, this, like I said, just kind of comes out to a lot more value than just raw farming gold. A recap, gold farming is about 7.6, 7.7 with the new stage. This is a little less, about 7.3 to 7.4, but you get a ton more resources. So that's going to wrap up today's TED Talk. If you guys liked it, drop a thumb, maybe sub if you're into that, and I'll see you in the next one.